Dobar dan, dobrodošli svima naš jedno live stream IT zajednice Rijeka. Za sve koji se sada uključuju, očekivali su dakle da razgovor na engleskom, takav će i biti. Evo kratki pozdrav svima vama na hrvatskom. I would like to welcome and say hello to Filip as my guest.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Filip.
Hi, Rene.
Hello. So today we are going to discuss a topic about basically a topic that is kind of frequently an issue in IT companies, but I would say it's also an issue in other companies that aren't IT related. So it doesn't have to be, I named the topic turning from a programmer to a manager, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be turning from an electrical engineer to a manager. So this is basically an issue that happens in lots of companies where a person that is very, let's say, technically capable is found to be basically becoming a manager. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing, but it is something that happens during the years where the person that is doing something very specific, again, it doesn't have to be programming, it can be anything, is found to actually manage people and do perhaps some tasks that are more for someone that has finished some other type of education and has some other type of experience. So lots of times we see that, for example, people that are in hospitals, for example, people that have finished medical schools are managing the hospitals, and we've been talking about how that can be also somewhat an issue, because someone that has finished a medical school doesn't have to be the best manager. So this is the similar case. So can you, I have laid out the topic here right now, but Filip, before we dive a bit into it, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so my background is in IT, in software development, and I started more than 15 years ago, and so I did work with small companies, startups. I did work with big corporations, also later as well as a consultant on the both sides. So giving the service of consultancy and working together with external consultants. So I know how it feels to work on both sides. And and my experience, as you mentioned, on that side, so it is quite a big issue in the IT sector, because a lot of developers quite quickly came into a position to lead teams, and it is an issue because in our educational system you just learn technical stuff. You don't learn about managing people, and that could be, and that's why it's challenging. And I think we need to do something, I guess, as a community.
Sure. So that is why we're having this discussion. So it's really about having that mindset where we talk about these issues in the sense that, for example, we can have a person that is very capable in the IT world and really handles his tasks very well, but that person probably isn't the best choice when it comes to managing someone. And
I mean, it depends. It depends. You don't know. But the thing is, not necessarily you can lead the team of people, because it's different skills. And if you don't have a mentor in a company, then it's much more difficult. You can destroy a company. You can destroy a team as well.
Yeah, okay, you mentioned if you don't have a mentor, but for example, let's imagine a startup. Let's imagine just through 2 or 3 guys or girls who had started up something, and there is no mentor, there is no extra money for anything, and they are gradually progressing and kind of growing as a company. And sometimes we can witness that some organizations or startups are basically thrown, and some people within the startup are thrown into that role of being a manager, even though perhaps that isn't the best thing for them.
Yeah, could be multiple reasons why it's like that. Sometimes it's just instead of getting bigger salary, you just get the title, so then you become a manager, but not managing anyone, only more work maybe. Sometimes it's sometimes employee just wants to progress and think about how can I improve my career, and then you are pushing to get into this higher ranks, into management position. Even though you are not maybe ready for that. And also,
what was your experience when? So you started off as a. So you can you guide us through your experience and what happened in your life, and what conclusions did you made during this, let's say, passage?
So I was still on studying on university, and I started working with a small company. Back then it was not called startup. It was like more than 15 years ago, but in Croatia. And but it was a startup. So we were developing info kiosks, and it was private investment. And quite quickly, I ended up as the only software engineer in the company. Well, student, so I was not even finished. But I knew my part of the job, so I knew how to configure those computers, how to use the software that we need there, how to add new features. So I was basically leading software development for the company. We also had hardware development, because it was complete assembly was in Croatia, so we would just order parts from China, and then it would be assembled in Croatia. And then, when you are in such a position, then, in all the meetings, I was company's leading engineer, and it was not called CTO back then, but I was, the leading engineer for software, which I was. And I knew I knew the business, how it works, what we need, and how to integrate with other systems. But that's not like management in a proper sense, because you don't. In the beginning, I didn't manage people. So after I finished university, I started to work full time for the company. But there were some other opportunities. So I was actually I got asked to join another bigger company, a big bank in Croatia, and so I started to work for them and I was not manager there anymore, so I was just employees, and I could learn there from because in a big company like a bank, they have all those different ranks. Everything is organized nicely. In a small startup.
The hierarchy is clear, and the advancements are clear, and how and when.
In startup, everyone knows you are just trying to figure out what to do to find the product market fit, to find out if the thing works, and when it works, then startup becomes a company, and then you start making it into production. And for the bank, everything's ready. So I joined the bank, and but I could learn a lot because it was a very, very well organized bank, and you could learn from from my manager, from the other managers, different sectors. Then you can see how it's the whole hierarchy, how it's structured. And I must say, at the university, we didn't learn much about all those structures, how to organize the company. So maybe I think maybe there are some later, there are some courses on the university, how to organize an office. So I didn't went for that one. I was just learning how to programming and software development. But I think that so later I missed that part definitely. After a bank, changed to. But in a bank, you have those evaluations every year. You get this evaluation. If you have like 2 years, if you're working for a company for 1 year, you get some possibility maybe to get to a new position.
Promotion,
you can change within. So you can get this like horizontal. You can move horizontally, or you can try to move vertically. But moving vertically, it's a bit more challenging because you need to know the business. You need to understand, what it needs to be done. It's not about technical stuff only. So that's maybe. This is all before becoming a manager, probably, because then you kind of you're progressing from I don't know, programmer position or software developer to a senior software developer, and maybe tech lead. But all those positions probably are not team management. So you have maybe more influence and maybe mentoring younger developers, but only on the technical side.
Yeah, but it's about mentoring young developers and approaching, let's call them less experienced younger colleagues. But we are not robots. During this interaction, we learn something. So you get the feeling of a person, you get the feeling of that interaction, and you learn during their years. And I would say that this is some sort of a course where you learn.
It is a preparation. It is a preparation for the next step into a management position, because then, of course, you know more people than in the company. You have colleagues that you work with. You mentor them, and then in that case, it's logical, kind of a bit logical to move into management position. But it's not always. So before it was. So if you wanted to progress. In the ranks, the only option was to go into management position. So there was no other technical position where you could go to like progress, to have bigger salary, because it is related.
Yeah, but it is different.
But now there are positions. So you don't need to. So if you don't like, or if you think you don't have skills for the people management, which we are not born with those skills, and maybe one is not interested in those skills at all, there are options to progress within technology as well. So you can become principal developer, more like strategic thinking, maybe system architect, or depends.
So fine, but there are still, so in my opinion, when you go to those higher ranks, again, you have to refine, let's call it, refine your people skills. So you have to have that diplomacy and compromise and everything.
And I would say in the bigger companies, you get those courses because they want to prepare you to, as well. They think about not just about the goals of the company, but also about your personal goals. So you can get those, courses about how to say no, assertiveness, and how to communicate effectively, how to write a polite email, and those we call those are all soft skills. But recently I saw someone he didn't want to call them anymore soft skills. They call it people skills or something else. But like hard skills and soft skills. But maybe. I can't remember who was that, but he said those are important skills, because the most important is to, at the end, to know how to communicate with people and how to work with people, with others, because we don't work alone. So, or you have customers, or you have colleagues. So you always need to know how to how to convey the message, how to explain what you want, and to be effective in that as well. So.
You had some experience abroad and in Croatia, so can you compare a little bit when it comes to these types of things. So when it comes to going through the ranks and hierarchy organization, what did you notice?
Yeah, for me, I moved from Croatia, from Zagreb to Scotland, to UK, and it was the first experience was difference in this, like in Croatia everything was, there is a lot of respect for you need to show a lot of respect, of course, for the manager, but in the UK it was quite flat hierarchy. So that's not like you don't start your email with very respected Mr. I don't know, Smith, but you just say, "Hi, John," even if he is a CEO. And for me, that was after 4 years working in a bank, it was quite a big change, because I was not sure if I can start email like that. So just saying hi to someone, but so that was kind of the first difference, I would say, like that. But then it's what else is there? So these flat structures are it is a bit different, because you communicate with everyone more easily. So it's there are no obstacles to, or let's say less obstacles to get some permission to do something, to try some new things, or so it's much more easier. There are no committees and then waiting for a decision if you can use some new technology. I mean, those things are related to bigger companies, to corporations. In Croatia, probably there are no such things in startups in Croatia as well, because you are a small team, and then you all decide together, and there is no. It's quite flat structure, but working for big companies abroad, it was an interesting experience, because they also evaluate you. They have all those plans about career path, how can you progress. They're all interested, if you like what you're working on, are you happy? They are thinking together with you, which direction can you move, if you would maybe like to change, I don't know, from a software development into organization or something like that, or to be more specific, maybe into instead of developing software, into managing infrastructure, for example. So those are relatively easy moves, but also
Sure.
maybe in sales or something like that.
Yeah, it's
after
it is. Go on. Yes, sir.
I moved to the Netherlands, and that was quite similar to the UK. So it's a bit more hierarchical, but relatively similar. Dutch are quite direct, so they tell you immediately. That was the other shock. Not shock, but interesting experience when you see some software developer talks to a CEO. CEO, for example, has some idea, he suggests something, and then the developer just says, "No, like this is stupid." Just like that. This is stupid idea. And I was like, "Is this like hidden camera somewhere?" So you cannot. Of course, there must be some respect, of course, but they will say, if they don't think idea is good, they will say it. It's not like.
So they want to cut the time between that, like that social grooming and compromises and diplomacy, not compromise.
I think in Croatia is more like diplomacy. So you cannot just tell directly to someone in front of the others. You just need to tell someone, maybe to your manager or your colleague, and then cook it a bit, and then tell it to your manager, and then it kind of spreads a bit. But
my experience with Sweden is quite similar. It's somewhat of a blend between of what you mentioned. So the hierarchy is flat, and you can reach out to the investor, that is a person that's very influential, and you can reach out to that person and be very friendly, and that person will respond back and share his thoughts on something.
And listen.
It's very approachable. It's very easy to talk to everyone there, and I've noticed that you don't have a rank, but instead of that, you have experience. So people will go to you because there will be a discussion saying, oh, we have this issue. Okay, who should we contact to have this figured out? Oh, perhaps we can contact, I don't know, Rene. Okay, so because he has been here for XY years and he will probably know better what to do. So that is the way of thinking, not, oh, we will contact Rene because he's our boss or whatever.
Yeah, in the Netherlands or in the UK, they would call you just go-to person for some things. Yeah, and that's how you actually, how you can, at the end, if you stay with the company, probably you will move to a management position, probably, because you will know more and more about the business and how it works. I think that's the key to. So if you are hired as not as a manager, but if that's your kind of progression, so you need to know about the business, how it works, not just IT, for example, in our case. Of course, that's the minimum basics. You need to know how to do software development, how to organize all the technical stuff. You need to know, but this is not enough to manage a company. Maybe not like a company, but a team.
It sounds like I'm looking at it from a market perspective, but like an HR story. Yeah. In the sense that, okay, so IT personnel and IT professionals are scarce in the market as it is. And when you take that piece of market and then you divide it in half, and you want the people that are kind of more chatty or more extrovert or more inclined to lead other people, you are basically slicing that market into half. And you are having, I presume that you will have a huge issue in having a person that's like technically very enabled and at the same time has experience in leading successful companies. It's more probable that someone will recruit from the inside of the organization than go outside.
Yeah, I think that's more sustainable if you and I probably also more you get more profitable to just kind of get from within the company someone to take the lead. And because if you hire from the outside, unless if it's competition, then if they know what to do, then it makes sense. But it is difficult because even just to learn or to teach someone how to how the business works and what do you have on the operational side of the company, on the business side, the vision and the IT, so the maintenance. It probably takes a year, probably to. It depends how big is the company, but that's for a small company. It's probably a year to figure out.
Yeah.
So, for bigger ones, it's even more. Yeah.
It is an issue, and it is something that I think some small companies. So I would like to ask you, what is your advice? So to a growing small company, for example, in Rijeka, we have those. We have those in Rijeka. Like they are somewhat small, they are growing rapidly, and they have perhaps, or they will have this issue where they have a person that is acting as a technical director, let's call it like that. Yeah. And what advice would you give to that team, to that company, that so when they explode to 100 employees or 200 employees, how will they handle it? How will they handle that growth? Do they need to hire someone within the company to kind of channel all the communication and make sure that everything goes well, or should they give a course to the CTO on how to work on his soft skills?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you explode like that, so yeah, depends. I mean, we have examples in our neighborhood as well, about the companies when they explode. It is difficult, it is challenging. So it's and many people leave because they cannot handle that. It's complete mess probably, and nothing is. One day is one thing, the other day is something else. Probably as a lead, as a manager, you cannot even work on the stuff that you worked previously because you need to hire. You're just doing interviews, so it's and then you need to figure out how to hire proper, good people that work.
Let me just comment. Like I had a couple of talks with a couple of people that I know are very capable in a sense, organizational sense. They know how to handle their time. They know they're very focused on their work, and they know how to. They're very specialized in their work, technical work, and they told me that shared that during the last year and a half, all I've been doing is writing and answering emails, and going to meetings and going to interviews, and I was like, I think that is the last thing you should be doing.
Yeah.
So okay, it is important, but it should be at least 50-50. But I've noticed that people have like 90-10% ratio.
That's, probably because it depends on the company and how quickly you grow, and then what is the how much you can invest into hiring. Can you afford hiring someone from HR or hiring agency? But that's not ideal. But at least it helps you a bit to to filter out, and then you have those online tools as well to help you out with that. But at the end, still, if you
when you mean online tools, you mean like tests for like
tests, tests, and I was thinking about that. What would be the best? How to find someone, and probably you will have a lot of you will miss out on many people if you just give them tests. And it would be ideal if you could just meet people on, I don't know, conference or somewhere, or in a meetup, and then just talk with them, discuss, see if you like them as a person, and then of course you need to see if they can do the work that you are hiring them for. But it is a challenge. It is a challenge. It's
I know this story firsthand where Tesla is has opened up they call it a gigafactory, I think, in Berlin. Yeah. So I know firsthand that Elon Musk himself went there and talked to the people that will be in the IT division, let's call it there.
Well, so I noticed that abroad. So I also had quite a few interviews, and in the last stage, I would meet the CEO as well. So those companies were not big like Tesla, but they were much smaller. But still, they wanted to know. They wanted to meet
get to know you,
get to know you, and see. Yeah. Of course, they didn't. They just wanted to see your personality. Can you work for the company? And
but it was astounding to me. Like Elon Musk is a person that you would say does not have the time to do that. Yeah, and probably. He got enough time to talk to 20 people that day and went out to have a beer with a couple of them afterwards. It was like, is this story made up? But I got confirmation from a lot of people that it wasn't. And I was thinking, wow. So obviously, when it comes to priorities within Tesla, Elon Musk has he has put it on the top of his priority list to have to hire the right people.
Of course, yeah, probably the first employees, maybe for Berlin, for Europe. Yeah, you want to be sure that this is the base that will drive the company culture, and then they will understand each other. They will understand the company and the vision, and probably that's why. I mean, if you are a CEO, you would like to be sure that when you're moving to another continent, that it will work, so that you don't need to be there, so that you can trust them. So I think it's about the trust and just to meet the people, and just the first few seconds, this like just the feeling. You don't know why, but for some people,
I've noticed that like
that feeling.
A couple of times, I don't have that much experience, but I've been a part of a couple of dozens of interviews, and I've noticed one thing: like you have a CV in front of you that doesn't mean anything. So a lot of times I was like, oh, we have a pile of CVs and resumes, letters, whatever, and I stacked up the wrong ones on top. I said, oh, so these will probably be the best for us. These people, and I was always wrong. And when we talked to each other, I was like, oh, so I had put up these people on top, but actually we had hired those that I didn't even think would be like the best choice. Because when it comes to communication and personality, it was a quite different feel.
Yeah. Because at the end, I think maybe the most important is to hire for the team, to be sure that you're not a group of people, but a real team, so that you can have this team spirit and to build up something.
So,
and you cannot see that from a CV most of the time. I mean, it's easy to fake it on a CV or somewhere.
All right, but if you, it is easy to fake some technical skills, but when it comes to experience, it's like sometimes I was very astounded that someone has some experience within some big company, but when it comes to like just having that character, like very approachable, it's quite different. So you can have a person that was very happy and very kind of has that I don't know how to put it, in a sense it was working out pretty well in a big company, but that person when placed in a smaller company, in a smaller place where you have like very intimate, let's call it more intimate communication, and that person kind of got lost, and it didn't work as well, because that person had more of an expectation of working with a bigger departments and working in a slower pace. It was different. So I noticed that there's a difference between a smaller company and a huge company, where for example, a huge company like Tesla can have its CEO follow the vision and make sure that the vision is being followed on a very micro level by even hiring the right people. But at the same time, a smaller company doesn't have that luxury. I don't know if you agree. So they have to like multitask and wear multiple hats in order to survive.
Yeah. So especially for a startup, you are in a few different roles, definitely. So, and then you can see which one you like, or which ones you like the most, and then probably you try to hire for the other ones, someone else. But which makes sense, because you need to find someone who is better at those tasks. And if you're not motivated to do them, probably you won't be good at those tasks anyway. So, but also what I wanted to say. So our CVs and LinkedIn's and even interviews and tests, they don't show you the personality. And I remember for the company I work for my clients right now in Amsterdam. So what they did personality profiling for all the employees and the contractors, because they wanted to see what kind of persons we are in the company, because then it's much more easier to communicate. Because if you know someone is introvert or someone there are a few different types of, and those are like from the psychology.
Yeah, there are a couple of tests, I think like dozen personalities. Like you can slice
and then they can profile you nicely, and they can show you then on a graph who is where, and it's and then you can better understand your colleagues and how to approach them, how to talk to them. So when you can be direct or not so much direct, or how not to intimidate them or how not to irritate them. So because then you learn those things, how to what is important for them and how they communicate. So because at the end, if you want to communicate something, it's on you to make sure that the other one gets the message, and it's not the other one's fault if he doesn't understand you. So so you need to try harder, definitely, as someone who is communicating or tries to communicate his idea, definitely. And that's quite good. But they don't do it, which is interesting. Then they don't do it for the interview as well. Maybe because it's, I don't know, they think maybe it's too expensive to do those kind of profilings for the interview. Maybe it would make sense for the last, if you pass all the technical things, then maybe for the last one it would make sense maybe to do. But you can do kind of. That's why maybe some companies, they have a psychologist on the interview as well. So because they can ask some questions and they can profile you then live, and they can see what kind of person you are.
Yeah, I think that I presume that you, of all people, like you have over 20 years of experience, hands-on experience in the IT sector. I think that you like intuitively already know that what person and what type of a personality fits somewhere. Will he or she be a good tester, or he or she be a good salesperson? I think that you already have like you can't put your finger on it, but you can say, oh, he will probably be a good blend of this and that.
Yeah, you can see who has this attention to detail, or who has a great stories to sell stuff to, and definitely, yeah, you're right. So you can see who is technical, who understands technology and can make those links between the business and technology as well. And all those things matter. All those things matter. And maybe to come back to where we started from. So what happens when you are, software developer, and then you find yourself kind of sending emails all day, hiring people, and you're still have this title of a software developer, but the fact that you are a manager, so you're starting to do management kind of tasks. Not all, probably, because you don't have one-on-ones, or you don't have those evaluations. Those are maybe done by the, I don't know, director, CEO, CTO, I don't know. But yeah, what to do then, and how to prepare for those things. So I think it depends on the person itself, because some people will try to actively find to learn about those things. So if company doesn't provide you any opportunity to send you to a course, or if you don't have a mentor, so you said, yeah, you don't have a mentor. It's a startup. It's like 6, 7 of you, and everyone is doing something else. But today with internet, it's there's no excuse. You can have so many mentors, blogs, and probably you're not in this position the first one. So you can probably someone already shared in a blog or somewhere what to do. But it is what I noticed, like 2 or 3 years ago, there was much more content on for the CTOs and for the tech leads as well. So because I think it is still a niche, because yeah, there was nothing. So in the educational system, you will not get about at least, okay, Croatian one, you will not get anything about people management if you are studying technology. Maybe those are like extra curriculum classes or something. Maybe you can choose those. I'm not sure on that one. But what I see from experience, everyone is complaining about the management because people don't know how to do it, how to do those things.
Yeah,
so I see a lot of colleagues.
Quite chaotic most of the time.
They complain about about the manager because he's not. They think he's not good, and which probably is true as well. But on the other hand, yeah, I need to filter out some things as well. So if you are, you cannot just blame the manager all the time.
Yeah, it is. So it is something that happens very organically, or like progressively. You get involved into that role. So it doesn't have to happen overnight. So
probably it doesn't happen overnight, and that's I won't say it's a problem, but you don't get this. You are not prepared for the position, because maybe you get promoted, and they say, okay, now you are managing those 3 people, so which were in your team, and you were senior anyway, and they know you all. But from now, you have kind of different responsibilities, so you need to you need to evaluate those your colleagues. You need to talk about salary. You need to talk about so they will ask you now for a raise. And you need to make sure that they are also progressing their own careers, and they can catch up with the business needs as well. So
I heard some stories. I think I read it in some psychology handbook or something like that. It was very formal, it's old school term to managing stuff, but but it was, I think that I read that one person can directly manage a maximum of 7 people. So that successfully delegate tasks to 7 people, and that is like the maximum. And like it's more expected that it could be 5.
It's yeah, number 7 is magical for people,
Yeah,
because you can remember 7 things. You can
probably it stems from that, but it sounds true.
Yeah.
It sounds true. Like you cannot successfully. I think that from my perspective, you cannot micromanage obviously 100 people. You can.
There are different styles. Yeah, there are different styles.
And I had noticed, like from my experience, which isn't quite a lot, but I've noticed from my experience that sometimes what happens is smaller companies grow very fast, and the management style stays the same, and it doesn't follow the growth. And what happens is like the top, like let's call them the founders. The founders are trying to keep up and trying to delegate as much as possible. And they start to delegate to 20 people, to 30 people, to 40 people. And you can see the drain on them. You can see that they're going like, perhaps I would even say like they're going a little bit crazy. Because
you can just imagine how many emails you get. You cannot reply to all those emails in a day. And then that's why they need to start early in the morning if they want to catch up. Maybe even block some time to reply to the emails. But you need, but this is you cannot stay the same. You need to adapt to a new situation. So if it's more people below you, you need to figure out how to make it sustainable. So you need to probably find those 7 guys that you will trust, that they will be able to communicate your vision to the teams below, and in that way you can probably you can lead 100 people, but not directly, of course.
It's an interesting story. We should have covered this at the very beginning, but I would like to cover it anyway. So I would like you to share a bit about what you're doing right now, and how come you came back to Rijeka after all, being through all of Europe and being with all of these big companies working in big systems. So can you tell us a bit what you're up to now? What happened?
So I came because of pandemic, because of COVID-19. So it was not planned to come back to Rijeka, but it was, in Amsterdam everything was closed, and there were no events, no one in the office. You're sitting there, and then I think about in Rijeka I have an apartment here. It's most of the time nice weather. Okay, it rains a bit more than the rest of Croatia, but it is nice weather. And then then I was thinking, maybe it makes sense if I spend more time in Rijeka than in Amsterdam. So I still work. I have a company in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and I currently work as a consultant for business owners. So I help them to bridge this gap between the business side and the software development teams, because what I see in the Netherlands, they have good idea for the business. They know what they need to do on the business side, and they can get investment. But then the problem is technical side, and how to realize those, how to implement the idea, how to translate it into the technical requirements. So this is my place where I do work. And then
so tech requirements and actually assembling the actual team, or
yeah. So I did work with outsourcing teams. Sometimes I would just come to a company. They already had outsourcing agreed with someone, from Ukraine. The most of the time it's Ukraine, Poland, but I was working with teams in Armenia as well, and of course Croatia. And so usually, I would supervise the team from technical side, to see if estimations are okay, correct, if the user stories are written well, if they understand the business side. Yeah, sometimes some of the companies, they didn't have a technical person at all in the Netherlands. They would have everything outsourced, and sometimes I would work with head of IT, which at the moment I still do work with the head of IT. And then,
so you would have in Scrum terms, you would have a product owner, perhaps.
I was in a role of product owner as well, especially for the technical side, because it is difficult to find a person who can understand business business requirements and translate those into technical requirements, and then do the estimation. At least try to do the estimation of how much effort is needed to build something, if you know what is the where you stand at the moment. But also for the technology, some companies they just buy software or acquire something which is Java, and they don't have technical skills for that, and then they need someone to help them, even if I'm not the part of development team, but I'm supervising development team, which is outsourced. And for now, this is I think that's the position that I like the most. But of course, I do also hands-on. So the companies, they like if you can do also software development. So if you can, jump in and build the part of some of the features they need. But I would say for them it's quite expensive to do that. It's much more cheaper to hire someone who is let's say only software development.
So
but for now, it's consultancy, and we discuss on the strategic level which technologies. I don't know. Now it's all about the cloud and and the serverless, and how can we make the system more maintainable, more to simplify the system, how to how to make sure that it will work for the next 2 years. Or probably it doesn't make sense to think about much more further than that, because everything is changing quickly. So, but also to think about the team, how the team can develop their own skills, what is necessary when we hire new people as well. Then also I'll help on that side.
It sounds like a very challenging task to have like these distributed teams like all over the world and coordinate between them. Can you share a bit about that? How do you handle that? What, if you can you share what tools do you use how do you track time? How do you handle all these stuff?
I think the most important part is trust. So I did work with companies. I don't know, especially in the Ukraine developers. They would have even camera to create snapshots, which was I thought it's just ridiculous.
Sounds horrible.
It is horrible. I was talking to this guy and told him that it doesn't make sense, because he'll say, they are working all the time. They are there. I see the code. It's a snapshot of the screen and the face, but there is no results. And I told him, it doesn't make sense. So I think that's not a good approach. I think the best is when you see the results. And like you said, which tools do we use? I don't know. We use standard tools. For me, those are standard tools. But so you need something to make sure you have the list of tasks. We use, depends on the company, but I did try
Jira.
Different tools. Jira, Asana, Trello. It just depends on the company and the stage. ServiceNow as well. So those are similar to Jira. In the essence, all those tools are the same. So you need to explain the task. It's on a to-do list, and you need to deliver it. But how do you track time? It's time tracking is, I don't know about that one. I'm quite divided about that one, because tracking time is, the thing is, if you're external agency or consultant, yeah, you need to say how much time did you work on.
Yeah, that is the main question all the time.
I mean, we do use Clockify or something for the time tracking. There are also for Jira some plugins, but yeah, most of the time is trust. So when you send a timesheet to a client, then when they see like managing disk space for 3 days, then they'll say, what is this? So you need to be honest and see what is going on.
Well, things can happen. Things can get complicated.
No, of course.
Date handling, date formatting can get complicated, and you can waste a lot of time on it. And someone will say, "What about dates?" But yeah, it can. Yeah.
But it is. So you need to. That's why it's important to have those soft skills to explain. But also, in my role is to manage those expectations as well. So then, because I stand between development team and the business owner, and then I need to say, why if we don't, manage the date or something, or even before the date, I need to say, this, we have some issues, difficulties on the road, and so you need to expect, or we reduce the scope, or maybe move the date if it's possible. Or on the other hand, I need to talk to the team and ask them to work a bit more. Of course, they will be paid for that, but
it
cannot always work 24/7, so that's not possible.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you need to also understand the team. So if someone needs to get rest, to take the rest, and that's it. So it's at the moment it's that kind of a role. So I work remotely from Rijeka, and
it is interesting. We've been hearing similar stories. Like I think that the silver lining in this whole pandemic, especially for Croatia, is all of the expats or all of the people that have moved abroad have been coming back, and a lot of them are from IT, and we've been hearing similar stories when it comes to Rijeka, like yours. Like, in a sense, people kind of weighed in on the pros and cons and said, all right, I will move back here. I already have an apartment from my, I don't know, whatever.
I wouldn't go anywhere else because I like this dirty old town, but it's, I mean, it's not the most beautiful city in Croatia, that's for sure. But it has a lot of hidden gems. So it has a lot of hidden gems, which I think even I, who lived in Rijeka for more than 20 years, and I didn't know about those things. Like if you go to River Riječina, to see all those woods and all the mills and stuff, it's just amazing. And the beaches, I mean, it's amazing. After work, you can go to the beach. So
and like the faraway beaches, like for example Jadranovo or Selce, it isn't that far. You have the highway, let's call it the highway, and you can get there in let's say half an hour.
So you can find. The other day I was looking those like top 10 beaches in our Quarner Bay, and of course, I know all those beaches, but I was thinking like there is like hundreds more which are beautiful as those 10, and they are all here close to
hidden,
close by. And then during the winter time you have Platak. You can go for ski lessons.
You have Gorski Kotar and Fužine and Delnice.
The other day crazy. I was in Gorski Kotar, and it was amazing. If you go to Kamačnik, close to Vrhulsko, it's a very nice trekking road. There's a canyon of a small river Dobra. It is really nice.
And Lika is quite near, and Lika has a bunch of hidden gems. It's not that far away. It's in Croatian terms, it's far away, but in EU terms, it's not that far away. When I talk to my colleagues in Sweden, like when I say, oh, it's a 2-hour drive, they say like an everyday drive. So like, no, it's quite near actually, and you have all these hidden gems also in Istra, and it's not hidden, they're there. And yeah, so
but when I mentioned hidden gems, I just wanted to say about our city, because I don't think many people even in Croatia, they don't know about those things. They don't know about Rijeka and even the Roman Empire stuff, which is all hidden under the ground. But those things are amazing. The torpedo and even engine innovations and stuff like that. There is a lot of interesting stories.
Yeah, there is, and we are trying. We have a lot of plans. I'm going to even share some of them right now. So in IT community Rijeka, I already see some similarities, and I already see that this plan will benefit to a lot of companies, IT companies in Rijeka. So we have a plan of having this academy where we actually enroll people that aren't exactly, don't have any formal education when it comes to IT. Quite the opposite. They have the formal education in something quite opposite, perhaps in some tourist sector. And we will, using some methods, we will attract those people from all over the country, and we will have them in Rijeka, and they will learn to be a software developer. We will choose what language we will cover, but it will probably be something that is quite, let's call it friendly, like Python or something like that. And obviously, we will not start with C or with Java, but yeah, it's something that is quite usable. And yeah,
I think we need to think about what is the most effective, what is the most effective, and what would be interesting for the local companies as well, so that people can get real life experience from the projects. They can learn faster, and they can be motivated, because then they'll have a job waiting for them. But on the other hand, not everyone is for that, so they need to be extra motivated. I guess they want to change or learn about it. But yeah, if you ask me, I don't think software development is. I mean, it's logical most of the time.
yeah, it is, and it will be with this academy. We are trying to get all the people from all over the Croatia to come to Rijeka and to study for IT, and to study IT and study and to learn to be a software developer, and to get to that junior level at least, and to be to be hired by local IT companies. And this is a benefit for local IT companies, because they have already a person that has been proven itself by studying and working hard 6 months. And what happens, I think, is in the future, within the next 2 or 3 years, other companies, for example, from Zagreb or from other parts of Croatia, will say, oh, we have a huge pool of possible candidates in Rijeka. Let's open up. So it's quite logical for us to open up a next subsidiary in Rijeka, or to hire people from Rijeka, because we have a bunch of people there. So it will be a great step in that direction to have something similar. What, for example, has been happening in Split.
Yeah. I would like to see companies coming to Rijeka, but unfortunately, I see more colleagues going to Zagreb. So.
Yeah, we are looking forward to stopping that trend. And I think that this approach will help us at least stop that trend and make it work in our advantage. But we'll see. I will hold this lecture in one of our unconferences. We have these unconferences, which are basically, if someone isn't familiar with the term unconference, it is basically you show up, and if you have a talk, it will be good to tell us beforehand. But if you have a talk, you can just take the mic and talk. We cover it via live stream, and we are trying to do our best to promote that person that is talking, that is sharing something with us, IT related, hopefully, or somewhat IT related. And I will talk about this a bit more in the next conference, and I will present this idea to the community in a more formal way. We are talking, we are having very specific deals and talks with CTK. I'm not going to translate it, like Center for Technical Culture, Center za tehničku kulturu. They've been having very specific programs, boot camps. It's called boot camp. It's called. They've been having already 3 or 4 iterations of that, and they have experience in that field. So we will not reinvent the wheel. We will simply, in a joint venture, we will hire them actually to do that work of educating potential people that are very interested in learning new skills. So all that we need to do is kind of provide the hands-on approach. And we need to be there in a sense, like so that there are things like shadow working, those people that kind of, they can be a participant in some sort of a meeting. They can feel the dynamic of an IT company. And that is a huge value by itself. And we can be there financially. So we can cover the costs of that endeavor. I want to say endeavor, but it was adventure. But actually, it is an adventure. We are starting. We are trying for the first time to do it, but we'll see.
Okay, so this is for junior developers. What I would like to see as well, I would like to see, you know, some senior developers coming from abroad to Rijeka, maybe for a I don't know, for a meetup or to work, you know, from Rijeka for a week or something, you know, for a week or 2, maybe to meet their own clients, maybe to do, I don't know, Sprint Zero or some, you know, thinking about the, you know, when think about the project, maybe they can do that in Rijeka as well. And if you ask why, because then we all can learn from them, because you know, because when you share experience, you can see, you know, what kind of problems they have, what kind of solutions they did, and that's what I would like to see in Rijeka more and more.
Yeah, we will have similar things. We will have the whole team from Sweden when it comes to 46 Elks in the next spring. We will have them come over. I will arrange some programs to happen within the IT community Rijeka for them to share their knowledge, for them to share their experience as much as possible within a week or something like that. And it is a good way of kind of clashing cultures and clashing ideas and making something out of it. So yeah, we need to do that.
I would like to invite also my colleagues from Amsterdam as well to join us, to come to Rijeka for a while. Maybe not this
Perhaps
summer,
we can coordinate.
we should definitely, because then it will be also more value for them as well. And if you ask why Rijeka, because, you know, why not somewhere remotely on a beach? I mean, of course, they can go over the weekend for all those kind of trips. But Rijeka, you have this, you know, urban feeling. You are in the city. You go every day to work. You can walk probably to work, and then meet others from Europe, some other companies, local software developers, IT companies, and then in the evening we can share those like meetup talks experience. So yeah, it would be nice, definitely. Yeah, so like to become Ireland, you know, like in Ireland they have those. You can meet everyone in a bar there, in a pub. So you can from San Francisco, from Silicon Valley, you can see a lot of company owners and startup guys in Ireland, or maybe in Portugal as well, in Lisbon. Yeah, I would like to see something similar in Rijeka. But okay, so we need to work on it. It will not just happen because Rijeka is such a special city now. So we need to work on it.
We need to work on so we see from the example of Infobip, we have like their founders, like they didn't explain themselves. They said, all right, we want to build things in Vodnjan. So this is the center of our world. And if anyone asked if we all talked about where the biggest company, one of the biggest, maybe perhaps one of the top 3 or top 5 companies in Croatia, when it comes to IT, is where that company will be located. We didn't think of Vodnjan, I think. So nobody thought about Vodnjan, but they made their dream possible, and they did it by hard work, and they did it by involving the community and having these academies and having people be educated that aren't from the IT sector. They were very open to everyone, and that is the lesson that we need to take from them. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We already need to use the tools that we have.
Yeah. I agree, and I'm looking forward, definitely. Yeah.
Me too. I think this pandemic has a silver lining, and I think that a lot of things are awaiting, and a lot of good things will happen in the future. I ask everyone to stay tuned, and I promise you will be. I think that you will be happy with the results in a couple of years. Filip, thank you for participating. We will finish this stream right now. Filip, I will ask you to stay. We will chat a bit later. Thank you everyone for participating and for watching us. Bye.
Bye.